Hello and welcome to One Way Designs238. For today's project, you will need 4 of the Mother's Day cards from the Dollar Tree. You will also need 2 packs of the 5x7 canvases, which you can also get from the Dollar Tree. You will need Mod Podge and a brush. You will need any kind of embellishments. I have bling wrap, diamond wrap from the Dollar Tree in purple and in gold. You will also need a ruler. You will need your scissors, a crafting knife. You will need a marking utensil, whether it's a pen or a pencil, and some pieces of foam core, which I have left from previous projects. And of course, we will need our hot glue guns and hot glue sticks. Without further ado, let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is begin to prepare our greeting cards. And by preparing them, what we are going to do is simply take the front of the card and remove that from the back side of the card, because the front is exactly what we'll be using. And I find that the best way to do this is to simply take the ruler and line it up against the fold of the inside of the card and just cut it, just like so. Now that we have all 4 of our cards prepared, now we're going to go ahead and begin to adhere them to our canvases. And the way that I'm doing so is simply by putting a thin layer of the Mod Podge on the canvas first, and then placing the card on top. The reason that we're using a thin layer of Mod Podge is because if you use too thick of a layer, then you'll find that the card will simply pucker up, bubble up, and it will warp, versus using a thin layer where it should lay down just right. And we are taking our card and placing it right on the top. And I'm using my finger to get out any air bubbles that may have gotten trapped up underneath, but you can also use a popsicle stick or a boning utensil if you have it. And now I'm going to take my Mod Podge and I'm simply going to go over the top of it, and this is just to ensure the adhesion of it and also to seal it. Now you will notice that I will be going in different directions with the brush, because when the Mod Podge dries, it gives a different kind of a texture, which you can see. So you can go crisscross, you can go straight across, up and down. You could even go in circular motions with the brush, just to give different kinds of textures to your card. And now I'm just going to go ahead and cover my other 3 boards. Now that all 4 of my boards have been covered, I'm going to go ahead and begin the assembly of my box. And I just want to say that the good thing about Mod Podge is that it dries very quickly. Also, if you wanted to, you could put a little bit of glitter in the Mod Podge just to add a bit of sparkle to it. I opted not to do so, but that's just something that you could do if you decided to. Now, also, the back of my card, what I'm going to do with one of them is to cut it in strips, and I have folded it in half. And this is going to act as a brace for the inside of the corners of the box to give us a little bit of extra surety while we are assembling the box. Now I'm taking my first canvas, after I reload up my hot glue gun, and now I'm going to take a stream of the hot glue and go down one side, and now taking the second canvas and attaching it to it at a 90-degree angle, as close as I can get to a 90-degree angle, that is. And again, the piece of paper that we cut out to use for a brace, I'm simply going to hot glue that very snugly to the inner corner. And the same process I'm going to repeat again, and then I'll be back to tell you how we're going to assemble our fourth and final canvas. And now it is time to adhere our fourth and final canvas. The way that I'm going to do that is simply take my hot glue and I'm going to put a stream of it on both sides of the canvas. And after I have done that, I will just simply glue it into place on our first and third canvases. Just like so. Now, just to give you a heads up, at this point, if the box doesn't feel like it's all that sturdy, that's quite alright, because the next step will take care of that. It's really coming together. I'm really loving how it's shaping up. So to reinforce those seams and corners on the inside, I'm just taking my hot glue gun and I'm going to run a stream of glue along the inside of each of those four corners, which will give us, of course, reinforcement, but will also help us to be sure that this box will not fall apart. And there we have our box. I think it is very pretty just so far, and we're not even finished yet, you guys. Now it's time to move on to making the base. Now we're going to take our foam core board, and we have our two pieces. And what I'm going to do with the first piece is simply make a template to use to cut out the second piece. I'm going to take my box and position it in the middle of my foam core board. Now I'm simply going to take my marking utensil after I've gotten the placement where I wanted it, and I am going to mark around the bottom perimeter of the box. This is just to give me some kind of an idea where I need my box to sit. And now I am just going to take my ruler and I'm going to darken up those lines so that I can see it, because I don't want no kind of monkey business going on with these lines. And now that I have darkened up my lines, I'm going to take the ruler, and now I'm just simply going to mark a 1/2 inch mark 2 times per actual line. Again, I'm doing 2 markings of a 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to connect the dots. That was my first dot. That's my second dot. And now I'm just connecting these lines. And now I'm going to repeat this on the other 2 sides. I'm going to cut it out and trace it onto my second piece of foam core. And then we'll be back. Now you see I have used my first piece of foam core board as a template for the second piece. I've traced it, and now we're going to cut it out. Now here's a tip. When it comes to cutting out foam core board, I preferably like to use a ruler and a utility knife, as I have found that it really gives a much cleaner cut and versus using the scissors, as to where the scissors tend to just crush the foam core board. The utility knife gives it a really clean finish, which is what I really like. And now that we have both pieces of our foam core board, we're simply going to use our hot glue, and we are going to glue the 2 pieces together. Now notice that the side that I have my markings on, that is what I'm going to glue on the inside. So I'm going to glue the 2 sides that have the markings, glue those together. Now I'm going to place the 2 pieces of foam core together. A good thing about using hot glue on foam core board is that it's a little bit forgiving, so you have a little bit of time to adjust it as it needs to be adjusted before you apply pressure to make it permanent. Now I'm going to bring my box in, and now I am simply going to use my pen again. That rhymes, pen again. I'm going to use my pen again, and I am going to mark around the 4 corners of the box to be sure that when it comes time to adhere the box to the foundation, which is our base, that we don't have to be doing any guesstimation. We'll be able to do it accurately. So now I'm taking my hot glue gun, and I am just putting down a base of hot glue. And now I'm taking my box, and I'm taking my time to be sure that those corners are really matching up. Apply pressure, and the same method that we use for the inside of the box, we're going to use on the outside as well. Taking my hot glue gun and just going around the seam where the box itself meets with the base to be sure that we have great adhesion between the 2, and making sure that there's no slippage and nothing is coming apart. How cute is that already? I think this is just absolutely gorgeous. So now comes the fun part, decorating. But before we decorate, I want to give you this tip. On the bottom of my box, I'm going to use some felt. There are two kinds, which is what I call wibbly wobbly, and then you have which a bit more stiff. I'm going to opt to use the more stiff of the two felts. Now this particular piece of felt just happens to measure right up with what I needed to measure up with. And I'm going to bring my ruler in and lay it against the base of my box. And just simply take my utility knife and make a nice clean cut. And to adhere that to the bottom, I'm simply going to use my hot glue gun again, go around the entire perimeter of the piece of felt and on the inside of it, and then just take my time placing the felt on the base of our box. When you are using your hot glue gun or your utility knife, please be careful, as you don't want to burn yourself and you definitely don't want to cut yourself. Please use all precautionaries that you have to keep yourself safe. Now that our felt is attached, now we can really get down to the fun part, and that's the decorating. I really love how the box is coming along. So you can use any embellishments that you want. I just happen to have these diamond wraps that I got from the Dollar Tree in purple and in gold. And I'm just gonna cut them to fit how I want, and we'll be back. Now you see, I am using the diamond wrap and I am using the purple in 2 strands to make a frame, and then I want to take my gold with 1 strand just to highlight it on the inside. Well, you get to see what I'm talking about now. Now, I just want to point out that this particular hot glue gun that I am using is by Sure Bonder. I really love that particular hot glue gun because the nozzle on the point of it is extra fine. So whenever I'm using gemstones or I need to really have precision, this is my go-to hot glue gun. Absolutely love it. as you see, this is the pattern that I have chosen. I'm going to go ahead and finish the other panels as well as the base, and I'll be back to show you the final result. And ta-da! Here she is. I think it turned out phenomenal. Well, you see, from this particular box, we have all the different sayings from the different cards that we use, and we also have the glitz, the sparkle, and the glamour from the diamond wraps that we used. And of course, we have a little bit of extra sparkle from gemstones, acrylic gemstones that I decided to use. If you don't know, now you know I love all things bling. Well, to give this gift to your mother, you could fill this with her favorite candies, with her favorite bath products. You could fill it with her favorite coffees, her favorite teas, anything that she likes. And once you've filled it, you can wrap cellophane wrap around it and put a big beautiful bow on it and give it to her. What mother wouldn't want to have this as a gift? So please comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and let me know what you think about this. And remember, the only one way to do anything is the right way. Until next time, be well. Bye-bye.